I want at least 4 points from our next two games, Manchester United away and Manchester City away. So let's start that off with a win on Sunday. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea from a preview of the Manchester United versus Chelsea game, with the kickoff being at 2:05 PM UK time at Old Trafford, of course, on Sunday. And no faffing about, getting straight into it, speaking about our opposition Manchester United. And well, they currently sit in second with 56 points from 27 games, but just 3 points ahead of us in fourth. From second Manchester United to Spurs in fifth, it's just a 4-point gap. So the race for the top four really is tight, very tight. And that's why winning tomorrow is so crucially important. But let's continue speaking about United, and from their 27 games so far this season, they've won 17, drawn 5 and lost 5. They scored 51 goals, which is 2 more than we have scored, and they conceded 19, which is 4 less than we have conceded. So if we do win, we will go level on points with them, but unless we win by 3 or more goals, we will remain behind them on goal difference. And to be honest, they have been a little bit up and down recently results-wise. On Wednesday, they drew 0-0 at Sevilla, only thanks to some outstanding saves by David De Gea. Before that then, they beat Huddersfield 2-0 in the FA Cup, but their last league game ended in a 1-0 defeat at Newcastle. Quite interestingly, Jose Mourinho, in all this time, has still never won at Newcastle, which is quite a mad stat, I thought. Another league win in between, another 2-0 win over Huddersfield, this time in the league though, after they lost 2-0 to Spurs on January 31st. And that's why I said up and down, because other than that, they won all of their games in January. While around Christmas, they had 3 draws in a row. And now recently, a loss to Newcastle, and then obviously the loss against Spurs, the 0-0 at Sevilla, which obviously isn't an easy place to go to, Sevilla, and, 0-0 away from home in the first leg of a Champions League tie isn't a bad result, but it's not that great either, if we're being honest. But what you have to say, their only away defeat so far this season has come against Manchester City back in December. So at home, they have been very good. They have a very strong squad, spent stupid amounts of money over the last few years, but their performances and results especially don't really show that. Physically, they are a very strong team, incredibly strong, with the likes of Matic, POGBA, Lukaku, Fellaini. Also Sanchez is strong, the centre-backs of course, and not to forget Antonio Valencia at right-back, who's a beast as well. But generally, it's a Mourinho team, and everyone knows what that means. Defensively solid, sometimes overly defensive, playing on the counter-attack, and as Eden Hazard has revealed a few months ago, Mourinho doesn't really train attacking play. He works on the defensive side of things and then just lets the quality attacking players he does have do their thing going forward. I just mentioned Pogba there when I spoke about physically strong players, and the situation with him recently has been a bit odd. You saw him speaking to Mourinho on the sideline during a game, reportedly asking for a formation change. In another game, he was taken off straight after they conceded a Pogba mistake. He didn't start against Sevilla on Wednesday, but had to come on for Herrera, who got injured in the first half. Whether Pogba didn't start against Sevilla with the game against us in mind, who knows? I don't know. I think he had a minor injury before, so maybe that was the thinking behind it. But it all sounds a bit strange anyway, and it will be interesting to see if Pogba starts against us. But I actually reckon that he will. And I just mentioned under Herrera there, he picked up a hamstring injury against Sevilla and will miss the game against us, as well as Ibrahimovic, who's been out with a knee problem for a little while now. As far as I'm aware, those are the only injuries that the public know about at this moment in time. So, just Herrera and Ibrahimovic. And Herrera being out injured can only be a good thing for us. Although in our 1-0 home win over Manchester United back in November at Stamford Bridge, he was poor and Herrera was poor. But when we played Manchester United at Old Trafford last season, he man-marked Hazard out of the game completely, scored a goal, and was involved in the first goal when we lost 2-0. Whether Herrera would have even started against us on Sunday, no matter if he's injured or not, I don't know. But, it's certainly not a bad thing that even if he didn't start, there's no chance to bring him on, because their man-marking of Eden Hazard did work, sadly enough. But what formation will United go with? Usually Mourinho, of course, plays with a 4-2-3-1. We all know that. But he did start with a 3-5-2 at Stamford Bridge. And I'm sure Mourinho knows that we struggle more against teams that play 3 at the back and with wing-backs as well than we do against teams with 4 at the back. We'll just have to wait and see what he goes with this time. At the end of the day, it's Mourinho, it's Man United, and it's at Old Trafford. It will be a tough game and everyone knows that, but I think we can and I think we will do it. Now coming to Antonio Conte's pre-match press conference, and it started off with team news. All of Bakayoko, David Luiz and Ross Barkley remain sidelined with injuries, but everyone else is available. Information I have on Bakayoko is that he trained individually, while Ross Barkley did train with the group, but is still not fit enough to play after his hamstring injury. Conte then said, facing Manchester United is always dangerous because their squad is very strong. A very physically strong team as well. We have to put 120% into the game and try to get 3 points on Sunday. We have to play with great balance and intelligence, and we have to know how to attack, because we have to understand that Manchester United are masters at counter-attacking. When asked about the row of words he had with Mourinho a few weeks ago, Conte said, "We both said things. For me, it's okay, but I'm not interested in speaking about this topic." Then he was asked if there will be a handshake between them on Sunday, and Conte repeated himself saying, "No, I'm not interested in this." Whether he meant the handshake or just the topic to speak about, God knows. We'll see on Sunday, I suppose, whether they will shake hands or not. And as much as we want managers to shake hands before a game or after a game, after what was said between them two, I think it would be kind of understandable if they didn't shake hands, and I myself, I'm not really bothered whether they do or not, to be honest. Then the boss went on to saying that Tuesday's performance against Barcelona can give the team great confidence. And it also gives us confidence that if we work really hard and together as a team, it is very difficult to face Chelsea, and, couldn't be more right there. Then being asked how Christensen handled making that vital mistake on Tuesday against Barcelona, of course, Conte said, "I already forgot about the mistake. Every player makes mistakes throughout their career. Christensen is having a fantastic season and is showing great maturity." Also, Conte labelled Christensen's performance on Tuesday as wonderful apart from the mistake. And also, the boss reiterated that he trusts Christensen, that he's the present at Chelsea, but he can also be the future for the next 10 or 12 years and even become captain of Chelsea one day. And I really like what Conte said there. I don't think Christensen needed a confidence boost by the manager. I think he's mature enough to handle the situation just fine. But hearing your manager say, those kind of things about you, must be great for any player. Then speaking about Olivier Giroud, after being asked if he will start against United, Conte said that the player is working very hard and he's very pleased because it seems and feels that the player has been with us for much more than just a few weeks. And Giroud is of course in contention for the game. Then the boss was asked if we have to go to Old Trafford and try everything to win, or if a draw would also be a good result. Conte made it quite simple. We have a winning mentality, and if you have a winning mentality, you go into every game with the will to win. If then you end up drawing the game at Manchester United at Old Trafford, it can still be a good result, but you have to go there, you have to go everywhere to win if you have a winning mentality. And he's spot on there, I couldn't agree more. Of course, a draw at Man United wouldn't be the worst result of all time, but we have to go there to win. We can't go there to draw. I mean, we don't have Mourinho anymore. Also, we're not in a situation, like if you're 10 points clear at the top of the table, you can go there and not lose. But, when you're fighting for top 4 and it's so tight as it is, you need to go places to win games. That was then it from the press conference, and now speaking about Chelsea. Well, there is a few things I want to say here today. Now, the last time we played Manchester United at Old Trafford, Marcos Alonso got injured during the warm-up and we had to play Azpilicueta at wing-back, which really didn't work well at all. But you also have to say that their early 1-0 should not have stood, as Herrera clearly handled the ball in the build-up for that goal. Now, back in November, when we did beat them 1-0 at the bridge thanks to an unbelievable Morata header, we did start the game with a 3-5-2 formation. The question is, will we do the same this time? And I very much doubt it, mainly because of Bakayoko's injury. Otherwise, I think we might have done. But I still don't see Conte starting with a 3-man midfield of Kante, Drinkwater and Fabregas in a big game like this to sacrifice an attacking player in Willian or Pedro. So I reckon Conte will and also should go with a 3-4-3 again. Now, there are a fair few players that we almost know for certain will start. Courtois, Azpilicueta, Christensen, Kante, Hazard and basically Alonso as well. Those will start for sure. But who will be the third centre-back? Gary Cahill or Antonio Rudiger? Rudiger played very well against Barcelona, but that is a completely different type of game and a completely different type of opponent. Our recent record with Rudiger is also a lot better than it is with Cahill. But because United have Lukaku and Christensen isn't exactly the strongest and tallest centre-back, I think it might be Cahill that starts the game. Not that Rudiger is weak, of course, not at all, but Cahill is, the strongest player. And he's also the best defender we have in the air, so maybe the thinking behind that would make sense. But would I start Gary Cahill? No, I wouldn't. Mainly because I think Rudiger has earned the right to start, but it wouldn't surprise me if Cahill did start there. Rudiger has played very well against Barcelona. I mean, what more can you do as a player than play really well against one of the best teams in the world? If that doesn't earn you a starting spot, what does? Okay, so like I said, 3-4-3, Thibaut Courtois in goal, Azpilicueta, Christensen and Rudiger is what I go for as the back three. And at wing back, Alonso is basically set. And so he should be, especially after his performance against Barcelona. And on the other side, I also reckon that after his performance against Barcelona, Moses is and should be, basically set to start the game. So I would go for those two, Alonso and Moses, and I also think that Kanté will. Now midfield, of course Kanté will start. But just like ahead of the Barcelona game, the question is Fabregas or Drinkwater next to him. Against Barca, Cesc had a quality game. So disciplined, perfect positioning basically at all times. But also going forward, he played some very, very good passes and was mainly very secure in possession when under pressure. And that is hugely important for us. We just can't lose the ball when we're under pressure, very close to our own box. Some say Fabregas was part to blame for the goal that we conceded, but Christensen just should never have played the ball like that. Also, Azpilicueta, in theory, shouldn't have slid in there. He should have stayed on his feet and maybe blocked Iniesta from laying it back for Messi in the first place. You know, that kind of thing. I wouldn't really blame Fabregas there. Of course, he maybe could have done a little bit better, but, you know, we know who made the first error, but, you know, it's all right. We moved on from that. Let's speak about United and let's beat United. But, of course, United have very strong players in midfield. Matic, Pogba, maybe Fellaini will start. Although, you know, I reckon with Herrera out, Chelsea will go for Matic and Pogba as the two DMs. Whether he, like I said, you will stick to the 4-2-3-1 or will go to a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. I don't know. We will have to wait and see about that, but it wouldn't surprise me if Matic and Pogba were basically the two pivots. And will Fabregas be able to cope with their power and strength? Who knows? But Drinkwater isn't exactly the strongest player either. And I just think Fabregas, just like Rudiger and, you know, both Moses and Alonso, has just earned his starting spot and has proven against Barcelona and other games recently that he can for sure play in a midfield two with N'Golo Kante, no matter how good the opponent is. Of course, a player like Bakayoko, you know, just from his attributes, would be good against Man United. Because, I mean, the home game against them was by far Bakayoko's best performance for Chelsea. But he's injured at the moment. You know, he's also not really playing like he did against Man United in that game anyway. So I'm not even sure if I would start him if he was available. So midfield of Kante and Cesc Fabregas is what I'd go with, and also what I think Conte will go with. And then obviously coming to the attackers, Hazard obviously starts. And I think it has to be Willian on the other side. If Pedro starts over him, that would be a huge injustice in my opinion. Willian deserves to start, and there's no question about that in my opinion. I would start him. Will Conte? I don't know, but I sure hope so. Now the next difficult question is, will it be Morata or Giroud up front? Or even a false 9 again? I wouldn't go with a false 9, but if we do, I wouldn't put Eden Hazard there. I'd start Pedro in the middle. Hazard can't show all of his quality as the striker, in my opinion. Depending on how the opponent play, of course. If the opponent isn't very good defensively, he can show everything he has as a striker. You know, he did against Huddersfield away, wasn't it? Didn't he start a striker in that game? And he was very good in that. So he can do, but, you know, against Barcelona it didn't work. The last few games before then it didn't really work. And I don't think against Man United it would work all too well either. So, you know, I would maybe start Pedro there. Pedro's got very good finishing, so, you know, maybe that wouldn't be a bad shout at all. But like I said, I wouldn't go with a false 9 in the first place. I would go for Alvaro Morata. Even though Giroud has played very well in the 2 games he started for us, and physically is certainly better and stronger than Morata, Morata is our long-term project. Morata needs game time. Morata needs to feel like the manager trusts him, and Morata needs to score again. And he can't score when he's on the bench, can he? And also, he's not a great impact sub either, in my opinion. So, that's why I would start Morata. But Conte will do the same, or start Giroud, or go with a false 9. I honestly have no idea. And I don't think Jose knows either, which is, you know, I suppose a good thing. So to run you through it again, this is what I would go for. 3-4-3, Thibaut Courtois in goal, Cesar Spilicueta, Andreas Christensen, and Antonio Rudiger as the centre-back 3. Then Alonso and Victor Moses as the 2 wing-backs with N'Golo Kante and Cesc Fabregas as the 2 centre midfielders. Then Eden Hazard on the left, Willian on the right, and starting Alvaro Morata up front. Now United played in Spain on Wednesday. We played at home on Tuesday. We had more time to recover from the Champions League game, and we had more time to prepare for Manchester United. And that is an advantage that we have to make good use of, in my opinion. Mourinho, of course, knows that we struggle when the opposition presses our centre-backs and covers our midfielders. But will he do that? I'm really not sure, you know. Pressing is not something Jose does very often. He could do, though. But we just have to be prepared for anything because, you know, you never know with Mourinho. But how will we play? Will we do it a bit like he did against Barcelona, press early on and then, you know, sit tight and compact once they get closer to a goal? It's a difficult question because pressing Manchester United can work because their centre-backs certainly aren't the best on the ball. But United can do something that Barcelona can't. And that's just play it long to Lukaku, who can bring those balls down because he's huge, he's massive and he's strong. His first touch might not be great, but he's strong. And if we have to press them, that might leave too much space for Lukaku to lay the ball off for 3 teammates. So I'm not sure that would be the greatest idea. But only sitting back certainly isn't a good idea either. And I don't want to do that. So, you know, I don't want to just sit back. That's not what I want to do. I think against Manchester United, you need to play very balanced pressing, defending and attacking. It needs to be a mixture of all of those things. Just one of those might not work also well, in my opinion anyway. But now coming to my score prediction, and I'm going to tell you one thing. One thing that you heard at the start of the video already. I want at least 4 points from our next 2 games. United away and then City away next week. Is that aiming high? Of course it is. Yes, it is. But I'm confident that we can do that. You know, some people might call me crazy, especially to get anything from Man City at the Etihad. But I'm confident that we can do it. And I think we can and will win on Sunday against Manchester United as well. So my score prediction is a 2-1 win for Chelsea or a 1-0 win, but I'm confident that we will win. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below on everything I mentioned in this video. Leave me your predicted lineups and score predictions down in the comment section below as well. Leave a like if you did enjoy this video. Don't forget to check out my social media, which is last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter. As you can see over here, I'd massively appreciate it if you could follow me over there. And also, of course, don't forget to subscribe to 100% Chelsea. That'd be absolute class and we'd appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. I'm buzzing for Sunday. And I'll see you next time.